Voyager 1 was launched with a mission so modest it almost feels laughable now, to observe the outer planets and transmit a few snapshots back home. What it became, however, was nothing short of legendary. For 48 years, it has been drifting into the unknown, carrying with it humanity's boldest question: what lies beyond our sun's protective reach? And now, with its systems fading, its power draining, and the stars stretching endlessly ahead, Voyager 1 has just sent back one final stream of data. What it contained wasn't just measurements, it was confirmation. Confirmation of what many feared and few dared say aloud, that the edge of our solar system is not a quiet void, but something far stranger, and that this ancient machine may have triggered something we were never meant to awaken. The original mission planners at NASA never imagined Voyager 1 would live past the 1980s. It was designed with 1970s hardware. Its memory, radio transmission, and thermal power systems were barely more advanced than pocket calculators. And yet, against all expectations, Voyager 1 not only reached Jupiter, Saturn, and the boundary of the solar system, it kept going. It outlived generations of scientists. It outlasted the Cold War, the rise of the Internet, and even the retirement of the engineers who built it. But with every passing year, its instruments aged. Power had to be rationed. Non-essential systems were slowly shut down. NASA implemented emergency protocols just to squeeze a few more drops of data from the dying probe. And still, it kept whispering until now. What it sent in this final transmission before silence wasn't just a routine measurement. It was a cosmic scream buried in static. A final gift, or perhaps a warning. In October 2024, as Voyager 1 traveled deep through interstellar space, it detected something impossible, a sudden, overwhelming surge of high-energy radiation. At first, it seemed like an error. But when Earth's instruments, satellites, observatories, and ground-based arrays picked up the same signal nearly 19 hours later, it became clear this was real. And Voyager had been the first to feel it. The gamma-ray burst that followed was the most powerful ever recorded. It saturated our detectors. It disrupted Earth's ionosphere. And yet, when scientists finally traced the source, it wasn't from some cosmic cataclysm, not a hypernova, not a black hole, just a normal supernova, seemingly incapable of producing that kind of energy. But it did. And the gamma rays arrived in a concentrated, narrow jet, so precisely aimed, so violently powerful, that even our best models couldn't explain it. Voyager 1, having no shielding, took the hit first. Its instruments recorded levels of radiation we had never seen. And then, strange things started happening. Before its systems began failing, Voyager 1 had been scanning the outer edge of the heliosphere, the magnetic bubble that shields our solar system from the cosmic abyss. What it found was startling. Instead of a soft transition into the interstellar medium, Voyager 1 passed through a region of extreme plasma turbulence. The field lines twisted violently. Currents bent and collapsed. And beyond it lay something no one expected, a magnetic wall. The data suggested this barrier was denser, stronger, and more reactive than any magnetic structure previously mapped. Voyager 2 would confirm it years later. But Voyager 1 was the first to touch it. This magnetic wall appeared to behave like a filter, bending cosmic rays and reacting to solar activity in real time. Some theorized it might be a kind of cosmic boundary created by the sun's changing magnetic fields, or perhaps something even older. The shock waves from the gamma-ray burst may have collided with this wall just as Voyager 1 was passing through. And if that's true, then the probe wasn't just measuring it. It may have activated something dormant, revealing structures in space that only respond under specific cosmic conditions. Structures we didn't know existed. Structures we may have disturbed. In April 2025, long after the gamma burst faded and silence returned, a final transmission reached Earth, weak, fragmented, and nearly drowned in noise, but unmistakably Voyager. The instruments had recorded one last anomaly, a sudden, localized surge in magnetic intensity, followed by a sharp drop in plasma activity. Then nothing. As if Voyager had crossed into a place where space behaves differently, or where space itself becomes something else entirely. The last bytes of data, now stored in NASA's deep space archives, are still being studied. But many believe this was the probe's final breath, its last echo across the void. And as that ancient spacecraft slips ever further from our sun, it leaves behind more questions than answers. Was that final signal a natural fluctuation? A dying gasp of a fading probe? Or was it something far more significant, a message from the edge telling us that the dark is not empty? It's waiting. As researchers dug deeper into Voyager 1's final readings, particularly the sudden drop in plasma activity following the gamma-ray burst, some began whispering a theory that was once considered pure science fiction. What if the edge of the solar system isn't just a natural boundary, but an artificial threshold? The idea is simple yet staggering, that the heliosphere, long believed to be shaped by the sun's magnetic field, may actually be contained, not entirely, but enough to create a kind of cosmic quarantine. A protective dome. Or perhaps, a deliberate limitation designed to prevent or delay any system, natural or intelligent, from venturing too far, too fast. Proponents of this theory point to Voyager 1's erratic telemetry, the sharp transition in space conditions, and the geometric precision in some of the field shifts. These aren't things one expects from a purely natural boundary. They resemble something regulated, even engineered. If true, it could mean we've just brushed up against a technology so advanced we can't even recognize it as such, something Carl Sagan once warned us about. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And perhaps Voyager 1's greatest discovery wasn't what it saw, but what it touched. And what touched back. Inside NASA, not everyone agrees on what Voyager 1 found, or how much of it the world should know. Over the past year, sources close to the Deep Space Network have reported a growing divide between the engineering teams and the science advisors. On one side, the engineers insist that the final data stream, though incomplete, suggests an unknown force acted on the spacecraft. On the other, some physicists push to interpret the anomalies as natural decay, nothing more than a worn-out machine dying in a strange environment. But beneath these debates lies something far more concerning: intentional silence. Requests for raw telemetry logs have been delayed. Portions of the final data dump were classified as under review. And documents that once circulated freely within the scientific community are now locked behind special access credentials. Some say this is routine. Others aren't so sure. Because if Voyager 1's last signal implies that space beyond the heliopause is not what we thought it was, if it hints at contact containment or a fundamental rewrite of astrophysics, then the people who decide what gets published may no longer be just scientists. Of all the strange things Voyager 1 recorded, perhaps none is more confounding than what analysts call the pulse. It was buried deep within the background data, an almost imperceptible frequency fluctuation that appeared just moments before the final systems failed. At first, it was dismissed as noise, maybe interference from the gamma burst or a corrupted transmission. But as more experts studied the waveform, it became clear this was no accident. The pulse had a clear beginning, a perfect frequency range, and a time drop-off, like a signal deliberately constructed to be noticed, even if barely. And what made it even stranger was its duration, exactly 8.64 seconds. Not random, not natural. A number that, when converted, matches the rotational period of certain pulsars and matches theoretical models of how information packets might be embedded in gravitational fields. If Voyager detected something transmitting, even momentarily, then that changes everything. Because that means the darkness isn't just reactive. It's sending messages. As Voyager 1 fades into interstellar silence, the world faces a sobering truth. We may have received answers we're not ready to face. For decades, we assumed the universe was a place to explore, that the unknown was an open book waiting to be read. But Voyager's final data feels different. It suggests that the universe may not be open at all, that it has levels, layers, perhaps even rules. And that beyond those rules lies something we can't control, predict, or even understand. This realization isn't just scientific, it's deeply psychological. It forces us to reevaluate our place in the cosmos. To ask whether we're still the explorers or now the intruders. For all our telescopes, equations, and missions, Voyager may first have stumbled upon the most profound truth of all, that we're not alone. Not in space, not in time, and not in our curiosity. And now that we've knocked on the edge of the void, we must wait and wonder who or what might knock back. For nearly half a century, Voyager 1 has been our most daring question cast into the darkness. It carried our dreams, our music, our coordinates, our voice. But now, after 48 years, it has answered us one last time, not with words, but with something deeper. A shift, a signal, a silence that says more than we're prepared to hear. Its final data revealed more than anomalies. It confirmed what we've long suspected, that space is not empty, not passive, and not ours to map without consequence. The edge of the solar system was never just a line, it was a threshold. One we crossed with awe, and perhaps with arrogance. We thought the unknown would be beautiful. But Voyager showed us it can also be structured, enclosed, observed. And now that we've reached beyond the veil, we're left with the most human feeling of all: we are not in control. And maybe we never were. So now we turn to you. Was Voyager 1's final data just the end of a mission, or the beginning of something no one wanted to admit? Did we discover something ancient? Or did something ancient discover us? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you believe this is just the beginning of a new era in space discovery, one that might change everything, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the next signal from the stars may not be ours. We'll be here when it comes.